Large parts of Pretoria are still without power after electricity pylons collapsed onto the N4 on Sunday. The city says it won't rule out possibility of vandalism. The highway has been cleared, but electricity is yet to be restored. Now, the mayor of Tshwane, Celia Brink, and the electricity minister, Hussein Soramukhoba, are currently briefing the media. Let's take you there now to listen in.
Certain of the areas, as you already know, have been backfed, if that is the correct past participle, from available supply areas, but restoration is only fully going to happen once we repair this damage. And as we had discussions with Minister Ramokgopa, there are plans underway to install single poles instead of these pylons, which in fact is not a temporary solution but becomes a better permanent solution. In the process, I must say that the city of Tshwane is grateful for the technical assistance, the assistance with material and personnel being provided by Eskom. There's been very constructive engagements between the city manager and the management of Eskom, and today I expressed my appreciation to the Minister of Electricity for that assistance. The more assistance and the better assistance we get, the sooner we can reach a point where we can give a credible time frame as to this is the point where we'll restore electricity. We understand the frustration of the community, and I've had discussions with Minister Ramokgopa about how we can mitigate the effects of this prolonged power outage. But just a word of appreciation, Minister, for the visit here. We know also that you're a resident of Tshwane, and obviously national government has got a very strong interest in fixing what was damaged here. Thanks very much. Minister.
Oh yes, no, thank you very much, members of the media. As Executive Mayor Brink has indicated, we have had extensive engagement. The first thing is just to express our sincere appreciation at the leadership of the city under the Executive Mayor Brink and the MMC and the collective for their proactive steps that they've taken since we were visited by this disaster. Of course, we can appreciate that the magnitude and scale of the devastation is huge, because the extensive number of suburbs that are not going to have electricity, and the amount of frustration will only grow with time. And we really are supportive of what the Executive Mayor Brink has indicated. The city is on top of the issues once they have a better appreciation of the scale of the damage and also what it takes for them to fix. Of course, Eskom has come on board. We are also on board as national government, because it just can't be the responsibility just on the shoulders of Executive Mayor Brink and the city. I think we are going to lend a hand. He's taking leadership in the resolution of this problem, so we'll provide the necessary support that will make it possible for us to address this situation in the shortest possible space of time. And Executive Mayor Brink will be communicating what those timelines are, as he has indicated, once there's a better appreciation of what it will take, the period, so that we're able to provide some degree of comfort to the residents of Tshwane, especially the areas that are affected, that the city is doing everything possible. And from my conversation with the Executive Mayor Brink, MMC and the leadership, I have no doubt about their ability, commitment and just resoluteness in dealing with this matter. Will provide the necessary support. And we want to thank the ward councillors for being here. They are at the coal face. Of course, they are going to bear the brand of community frustrations. We do understand that they are in a very difficult situation, but I think it calls on all of us to have a coordinated effort. The communication is key. Since yesterday, once we got to know about this crisis, Executive Mayor Brink was on the ground just communicating to the residents of Tshwane. And I think that's it's very important that we continue to give assurance that we are dealing with this. I mean, this is something that we have not experienced before, and we are doing everything possible led by the city to resolve this problem. So thank you very much, Executive Mayor Brink, MMC, for the efforts you are making, and we'll continue to support you and the councillors, the work that we are doing here. Yeah.
Media colleagues, I don't know if you have any questions. I will just do one quick round of Q&A. Yeah, so it's an opportunity, name of the organization, and your questions, please.
Minister Buleli Chiti Jones, eNCA. Of course, we see what has happened here. The mayor is saying that this could be as a result of criminal activities. What's the long-term plan here in terms of fighting crime and protecting the electricity infrastructure as well?
Well, it has always been our primary preoccupation, just the protection of assets and infrastructure. And as the executive mayor has indicated, I think once they've complete their investigation, we'll have a conclusive understanding of what are the causes of this. And as he has indicated, I think just preliminary assessment will suggest that there's been significant tampering with this infrastructure that led to its collapse. And one of the conversations we're having with Executive Mayor Breng is to make it possible for us to do a condition assessment of all other pylons and infrastructure that could be vulnerable to this kind of attack, and where I am is to lift it at the national level. We do accept that in the short term something has to be done to protect the assets and also make sure that communities are safe, because as you can imagine the whole of Mamelodi is dark, and that's likely going to be the situation for some time until Executive Mayor Breng comes back. So there has to be significant reinforcement with regards to security, making sure that we protect communities and assets. And of course I'll elevate it to Minister Tlele as I live here, and that's a commitment I gave to Executive Mayor Breng. The city is doing everything possible to protect what they can within their jurisdiction, within the limited resources that they have. So like I said, it's a coordinated effort. The councillors also will do their best to galvanize communities on the lookout, on guard. There's so much that the councillors can do. I think the state must come into that space. Like I said, they will communicate to the relevant authorities, Minister Tlele in particular in this instance, and see what is it that we can do to assist the Executive Mayor Breng. It's not his problem, it's our problem. He takes the lead obviously, but we'll do everything possible to support the efforts to protect the assets going forward.
Good. All right. Go ahead, over there.
Okay, would you like to take another one?
You can go off.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Rasad Adams from the Beale Daily. Minister and Executive Mayor, the Mayor mentioned now that you're going to take a look at alternative type of poles that's going to be used for this area. This afternoon we spoke to ESCOM, in which they said that it might take 5 days at the bare minimum to replace the pylons. So do you think that that's perhaps a decision that needs to be taken quite immediately, so that we don't sit with a situation where residents sit up to a week without electricity? So this in terms of what the decision is now then going to be. Is it going to be replaced with new pylons, or what type of pole is then going to be used? And then if the Minister could just provide us, or the Executive Mayor just provide us with an idea as to what the damage is looking like in terms of figures. Yeah, the numbers, where are we standing in terms of the damage?
So the Minister can add where I have perhaps not answered the specifics of it, but I would be very careful of that answer of 5 days or how many ever days. ESCOM is assisting us with the sourcing of the single, what do you call a single? Monopoles. They are assisting us, but we're also speaking to the manufacturer of the monopoles. So there isn't just one supplier, and the focus is to complete the work as soon as possible. But I'd be very careful of any timelines. As to the utility of the monopoles, initially, and you know, I'm not an engineer, but initially the indication was what we will use as a temporary structure, but it would seem that the monopoles which are being discussed in fact can be a permanent solution, and a better solution, because as opposed to these pylons, the monopoles do not offer value for being vandalized or being stripped. It's not as vulnerable to theft and vandalism as the pylons are. In fact, the practice seems to be to shift to these monopoles in any event, and so we don't need to replace the old style pylons as they are.
Follow-up question? Yeah, I just wanted to ask in terms of businesses that have been interrupted, Mayor. I mean, we were at 4 today. They're saying they were being hard hit with the situation. Are you going to be engaging with the business partners as well around the areas that have been badly affected?
Definitely, we will speak to Ford, we'll speak to other manufacturers. Of course, Watlu is also affected. But the important point is that the same communication goes to the whole of Tshwane. We also know Mamelodi is affected, Eerstrus is affected, there are parts of the Moot that are affected. We are doing everything possible to restore as much power to the whole of the city without regard to benefiting one sector or one part of the community. The solutions that will be applied, the decisions that will be made will be technical decisions. Obviously, as a political leadership, we will apply pressure to restore power as soon as possible. But again, I want to emphasize that we don't want to make commitments that we don't have the capacity to deliver on. Now, that breach of trust will be even worse than a very prolonged power outage.
Yeah, MMC, you also been on the ground. I don't know what you want to add.
Yeah,
MMC
I think in ending, I would rather thank the officials who have been here since day one, and they've been giving us credible information, and to a great extent they were part of the meeting that we had with the minister. And I would like to also extend my thanks and to local councillors who are also on the ground disseminating information to the constituency. Thank you.
All right. Your colleagues, is that all? Everybody happy? Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.